You mentioned in the off-season that this team for you guys is going to compete for a national title every single year, and you truly believe that. What about this team and the mindset before every season kind of shows you that that is going to be a true statement year in and year out?
Well, number one, it starts in the recruiting process. You know, you got to have the talent to win a national championship. There's no secret sauce. You got to have good players first. And I feel like we've got a gym full of good players. We've got some young players. You know, we have 10 new players this year on a roster of 20. That's a lot. You know, it's like almost like a junior college mentality. You know, that's not ideal for us. So there's a lot of learning going on in the gym. But there's also a lot of talent. So I think the pieces are there for us to compete for conference, regional, national championships, and I really feel that way every year. But you know, with the amount of things we have to learn, we've got to do that pretty quick. We don't have, you know, a full year to do things. You know, we've got 17 days to figure it out. So. And our region matches start on day one. You know, there are no unimportant matches, unfortunately for us. We've got to go and we've got to get to it right away. So it's a little bit of a trial by fire. You know, we had some good scrimmages coming in against a couple of Division I opponents, competed pretty well like that. So I think we're in good position, but you just, until the first serve comes, you never really know.
What have you seen from the leaders of this team to help those 10 new players who had to step up being young and new into this system?
Yeah, I think number one is that their welcoming mentality is critical to our success, you know, and I think that's a staple of our program. You know, they kind of show them what the standards are. You know, this is how we do things, and I think they've done a really nice job of doing that.
What did you learn from the scrimmages this past weekend that you maybe couldn't see, obviously, before the season starts in the off-season?
Well, this past weekend we had an inter squad, you know, so it's our last chance to kind of just compete in front of people, you know, but I feel like a couple people have started to close that gap. You know, we talk about our returners, you know, versus our new players, and we want to close the gap between what they can do and what we want them to do, and I think they're starting to close that gap, so that was really nice. From our first weekend, you know, we played against 2 Division I opponents with 4 days of practice, really 3.5 days of practice. And that went pretty well. And so a week went by, you know, and you want to see progress. And I definitely feel like we're seeing progress in that learning and closing that gap and making us, you know, competitive in all parts of our game.
How do you feel about the season opening tournament at home this coming up, you know, weekend coming up? Well,
it's exciting. You know, our first match of the year, we'll have 3,000 elementary students in this arena here. You know, it's a chaos, it's a zoo, it's a lot of fun. If you should come and you should witness it because it's the loudest thing you'll ever see in your life. There's no better fan than a 3rd, 4th, 5th grade just screaming kid, and they're just screaming because they can. You know, it's a lot of fun. You know, the first match is New Mexico Highlands, and it's in our region. You know, that's a really critical match for us. You know, and then we play a top 25 opponent in the second match of the year. So there's no time to waste. You know, but I think it should be a great environment. I think we should be ready. I think everybody's in the same boat. Like, nobody knows what to expect from their teams. They don't know the opponents yet. You don't have film because you got so many new players. You know, you can watch some film on a couple returning kids, but like, you just don't know what teams, you know, chemistry will be, how they're going to perform. So I expect it to be a good weekend. Everybody's 0-0, so anything's possible for every team that's here. So I think that's fun. It's a little scary, but it's fun, you know, and I'm looking forward to having a great environment and you know, getting some wins.
Your career win percentage is just shy of 800 with your home win percentage just shy of 900. Is there a bigger emphasis for this team and every team going into every season that you lay on home games that you would for road games?
No, because they all matter. There's only 2 conferences in our region. You know, like, so every other region in the country has 3 conferences, you know, and typically one of those conferences is not at the level of the other 2. Well, that's not the case. So every win matters, whether you're here at home or on the road. So that's not we have to win at home or we have to win all of them, you know, to put ourselves in the best position to make a regional, you know, make postseason in the NCAA tournament. So our environment makes it more likely that we win at home than on the road because we're top 5 in the country in attendance, and we have great fans, and they come and they support us, and they have since day one. This is year 17 for me, you know, and so it's been amazing, the environment that we have here when we compete, but certainly an advantage, but there's no, well, we're home, we have to win. We just have to win.
You guys were voted third in the preseason poll. What does that do for the mentality of this team going in, especially for those 10 new players who come into a third-ranked team, the same finish that you guys had last year?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't, you know, polls are polls. You know, they're voted on by coaches and SIDs, and you know, that aren't spending any time in our gym. So who knows? Like, you know, who's 1, who's 2, who's 3, who's 12. We've got 17 teams in our conference. You know, I mean, there's so many question marks and so many teams with new players and new, you know. So we want to be in the top piece of our conference. We want to compete for a conference championship. So I don't know, the fact that we're not 1, I mean, maybe that bothers them. Maybe they're excited about 3. I don't know. You know, they're 18 to 22-year-old young women. So it doesn't affect me at all, you know, personally. I just, like, everybody's in the same boat. We're all 0-0, you know, so we're ready to compete. We're ready to be 1-0 at noon on Friday. That's the goal.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.